This is a CBSN Pittsburgh special presentation.
Hi, I'm John Delano, Money and Politics Editor, KDK Television. And our very special guest is David Sweet, who we all remember as a former state representative from Washington County, but he's now a member of the Public Utility Commission. And David, so good to be with you. Thank you, sir, for spending time with me.
Well, thank you, John. But many of your viewers will have absolutely no idea about my time in the General Assembly. It was several decades ago.
Well, some of us are old enough to have memories. Well, let me ask you about the Public Utility Commission, because it's in the news today. The Public Utility Commission apparently was unable to extend a moratorium on the ability of folks to, frankly, forego their utility payments. If I understand this correctly, what happens is utilities are now allowed, under certain circumstances, to shut off people's utilities. Maybe I could ask you to explain exactly what's going on here.
Well, it is a little bit of a contorted story. I mean, ordinarily, utilities can shut off, terminate customers for non-payment under a myriad of conditions that are set forth in something called Chapter 56 of the Public Utility Code. But when the pandemic hit, Governor Wolf issued an emergency proclamation that allowed the suspension of all sorts of statutes and regulations. And one of the things the Public Utility Commission did last spring was impose a moratorium on termination of people's utilities, because for obvious reasons, the economic impact of the pandemic. That moratorium existed through the summer and into the fall. In the fall, there was a vote, and I dissented on this motion, which said the moratorium, the stoppage of terminations, would end on March 31st. So yesterday, the commission took up the matter again. I offered a motion to extend the moratorium till the middle of July. And my reason for doing that is we have all of this money, federal money that was just appropriated by the General Assembly about 2 weeks ago and released by the state treasurer. And literally this week, the $1.9 trillion of money through the Biden coronavirus relief plan. And that has significant money for assistance for individuals in the payment of rent and in the payment of utilities. Now, the dilemma, as I see it, is it takes the government a while to actually set up programs and appropriate money and get it into people's hands. And so this created for me a need to continue to make sure people have their utility service. And we're talking about electric, we're talking about water, we're talking about gas, and we're talking about, now a major need in life, which is the internet and electric telecommunication services. So
can you give me some idea about how many people are in arrearages when it comes to utilities? How many people in Pennsylvania have not been able to pay their utility bills?
There are nearly 1 million utility customers who are considered at risk, meaning they could be terminated. That's a huge percentage. That's almost 10% of the, well, in fact, it's more than 10% of the customers. And that arrearage amounts to almost $1 billion, John.
You made a motion then to continue the moratorium until July. What happened to that motion?
Unfortunately, it was in effect defeated. The PUC is usually a 5-person agency, and there tends to be a majority, 3-2, depending on which party holds the governor's office. Unfortunately, there's a vacancy, and it's 2-2. And this issue, unfortunately, like some others now, has become partisan. And it was a 2-2 breakdown, but we needed 3 votes, a majority, in order to pass my motion and continue the moratorium.
So instead, the PUC did pass a motion, I guess 4-0, that was offered by the chair. Can you describe what this motion does for folks?
Yes, the chair, in an attempt to get something done, offered a motion which, while allowing the moratorium to expire, did provide a number of consumer protections and basically stretches out payment plans so that people will have more time to pay their utility bills. It passed 4-0 because she was attempting to create compromise. The two who would oppose my motion did vote for it. And I sort of regretfully voted for it under the theory that something is better than nothing. And had we not passed the chair's motion, the moratorium would have expired, people could be terminated, and there would not have been the consumer protections I described.
Well, to be clear, are utilities now able, effective April 1, to shut off service to any customer they wish?
They will be able to shut off customers who have large arrearages, who owe considerable amounts of money. There's a process in the Public Utility Code currently, and there are protections, and people can contact the PUC. We have a Bureau of Consumer Services that can often intervene and can arrange payment plans. And also, I would encourage people to contact their utility, because most utilities don't want to terminate people. That's a bad ending in many respects. The person's without service and the utilities without payment. So there are a number of programs, both public programs and utility-sponsored programs available. And people should, the first thing they should do is call their utility, speak to a customer service representative, and attempt to negotiate a payment plan that may be better tailored to their financial means.
But the bottom line, Commissioner, is that there are going to be a lot of people come April 1. You said nearly 1 million people who are at risk unless they can cut some kind of deal with their utility companies?
That's correct, John. In fact, it's worse than you described, because it's not 1 million people, it's 1 million customers. And every customer may have 1 to 5, 6, 7 people affected in their home.
Very good point. Is there anything the governor can do about this?
That's a very good question. In New Jersey, Governor Murphy has imposed a moratorium based on his own powers. And here the governor has not attempted to do that because, quite frankly, there's no need to. But
now there may be.
I'm sure they're reviewing it. Quite frankly, my motion was really consistent with what the governor had suggested in a formal comment letter he sent to us, as well as signed by most, at least Democratic members of the state Senate, and also local officials throughout the state, asking for that extra time to allocate these just millions and millions of dollars that are going to be available.
And then finally, Commissioner Dave Sweet of the Public Utility Commission, what is your expectation of what's likely to happen? Are we going to see a lot of shutoffs here in Western Pennsylvania and across the state come April 1?
I think it's going to vary. I think it's going to depend upon the approach the utility takes. Some are more aggressive than others. When they had an opportunity in November to terminate some people, most did not. So we'll have to wait and see. As I mentioned, utilities, it's a last resort to them. And they have wanted an end to the moratorium because they think that that's the way they get the customer's attention to sign up for programs or to make a down payment and to negotiate a payment plan. I think their outreach could be much improved. And there are other ways than threatening people in order to collect bills, but we'll see. It'll be a mixed matter. And I think most utilities are not avid to terminate people immediately.
Well, Commissioner David Sweet from the Public Utility Commission, thank you, sir, very much. It's always good to be with you and another fellow Western Pennsylvanian. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it very much.
Hi, I'm John Delano, Money and Politics Editor for KDKA TV. And our very special guest is Chad Quinn, who is the